Well, congratulations to you both on the show and your performances. Completely up my street. I love that sort of show. And actually, having watched the whole thing, I'm now missing all the characters.
Oh.
You watched the whole season?
You mean up your Straza, love? What you meant to say.
I love it.
I'm married to an English woman, so you carry on.
Oh, right, okay. Like everybody in the show, actually, your characters have a very complicated relationship. There's not that much trust going on, but there's a sort of grudging respect that you see. And Jessica, I mean, you really struggle to understand him, don't you?
I don't think I struggle to understand him. I think the struggle is trying to get him to see who he actually is.
Well said.
It's she knows who this man is on paper, and has seen what he's done on paper. And I think her, main goal with him personally is to see that person in person. Mm-hmm. And she knows he can do this job better than anybody that's on her force. And again, with this type of job, she can't just send anybody in there. It's got to be somebody special that's going to be able to infiltrate and be trusted and be told things. And regardless of what he has going on, some people would go, oh, he's a deadbeat, or he's this, or he's crooked. And great, that's exactly what I need. So yeah.
How did the two of you go about building that relationship that we see on screen?
I think we were extremely fortunate. I mean, I was a big fan of Jessica's work, so I knew already, what a brilliant actress she was. I'd heard a lot of stories that she was very difficult to work with. Mm-hmm. And that's completely, that's so false. No, we were just very blessed in that way that, which is what you wish and hope for, mm-hmm. that you come together, and it felt like we'd worked together before. Mm-hmm. We spoke a lot of the same language. We worked the same way. We fed each other mm-hmm. in a way, and we realized that despite the fact that these characters don't know each other whatsoever, mm-hmm. and so there was also an interesting natural progression. Our mm-hmm. relationship was immediate. Absolutely. I had deep affection and love and respect for her.
Absolutely.
Within nanoseconds of meeting each other.
Well, I had been a fan for a very long time. And so when I found out, because they told me, I know I'm joking, but they told me who was playing, Kieran, and I was like, oh, this is awesome. Okay, great. And so I already had a relationship with you, regardless whether you knew it or not. But I was just like, he's amazing, and he was so down and so down to earth. And I just felt like I could truly talk to him. And there would be moments artistically as well that I knew I could come to him and be like, hey, what do you think about this? And he'd be like, yeah, I think and it was just a wonderful artistic relationship. And I feel like we fed off of each other, and I learned a lot too.
Well, we did, and we had that relationship between the two characters really evolved in its own way, and which was interesting for us, because there's what's on the page, but how do you tell that story? Yeah. So,
your character though has quite an extensive backstory,
mm-hmm.
and we learn most of it as well because mm-hmm. of his time in the Marines, and he's a decorated cop and all the rest of it. We also know that his life has gone downhill, and I wondered if the fact that there was such an extensive backstory was actually one of the reasons why you took the role, and how that affected you developing the character. I mean, does it make it easier for you? Does it make it harder?
Well, some of it was on the page, and some of it, because of my relationship with Brancato and Paynes, spans over 3, maybe 4 decades, which is kind of crazy. But so it was very, very collaborative. There would be little ideas, but that was the whole thing. You didn't want that character to just kind of come out and go, what's the thing? You had to know something about him. But the interesting device was that he is not a guy who is emotionally demonstrative or talks about himself. And so it all had to come through Birdy. And that's a very interesting vehicle. Mm-hmm. His military service, those things, they're unfolded to the audience.
Although he does have that tattoo.
He does, the search and destroy. But those aspects of that, because this is a character that on the page is really, is there any redemption for a guy who does the things that he does? So that will be up to the audience to kind of come to that. And I certainly, as an actor, I don't stigmatize my characters as being good or bad, or then, I might as well just, well, I did have a mustache. I was going to say I might as well twirl the mustache, but I had one, in fact.
You didn't have enough.
So I could have done that. I refrained from doing that, right? Yeah.
Am I right in thinking you actually spent some time in New York during the sort of early 1980s?
Yeah, well, I'm from New York.
Right.
I'm from New York. So, and I had mates, one particular mate whose dad was in the Westies, and I was around them a great deal. Now, I'm not going to pretend that I was friends with them, but the real guys, Mickey Featherstone, and Jimmy Coonan, and more than one time I was in the pub with them. But they were different than John Gotti and Sammy the Bull, who I also knew, which people were very sort of sycophantic, and he was a celebrity. The Westies were very insular. So I saw those guys, and I knew that world. So for me, it was just interesting to have that period in our history in New York, which
and
was
there's a personal
grim.
element for you in this, though,
Yeah.
which won't happen very often.
No, I wanted it to be accurate. I'm sure, in the same way, I mean, here you have Peaky Blinders, and now you've got Mobland. You have these extraordinary shows. So this is an opportunity, and without it being tropey, because we've seen, American cinema has kind of dominated the Italian mafia genre for a long. This is a story that's not really been told before, so I felt like it's fresh. And it's an interesting piece in history, dark as it is. It's still interesting.
Jessica, I thought your character really sort of stands out, because if you look at the scenes in the FBI office, you're the only woman, and you're the only black person as well. So how much did that give you something to really sink your teeth into?
Oh, I loved it. When I talked to Chris and Michael on Zoom when I got the part, I was like, is this accurate? And obviously I was like, this can't be accurate. So I've got to make it accurate so that I feel as powerful and as on as Birdy is. And I researched everybody that was on different task force and everybody that was involved. I watched all of the FBI documentaries and everything to find her. And so for me, she's a sort of a combination of so many people that were on that task force. But one of my favorite people to study was the first black woman in the FBI, Sylvia Mathis. And around that time, she was on a task force. She wasn't the head of the task force, but it was wonderful to study her journey and sort of use a little bit of her backstory.
A bit of a role model.
Absolutely, to build Birdy. And also just, being in, I'm a history nerd, and so I'm obsessed with studying different time periods and diving into sort of the corrupt, dysfunctional world of the law at that time, especially in New York. It was fun to sort of build the story with Chris and Michael, so I loved it.
Both fascinating characters, so many in this show, and it's a great show. Absolutely loved it. Thank you so much for your time. It's been great to meet you both.
Thank you. Nice to meet you.
Cheers. Thanks so much.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Hey You Guys.
Hey, you guys!
Hey you guys.
Hey, that's what they all say.
Hey you guys.
Hey, you guys!